Howdy, folks. Typically, these are highway sessions, but today I'm off, and recovery's really been kicking my ass the last couple of days. But I wanted to make this video. I guess we'll talk about snakes. My mom was a drunk for my entire life. Until I was about 15, 16, somewhere in that neighborhood. And then she just switched from alcohol, which her choice was Bacardi Special 7 Dark Rum. But when she put down the bottle and got sober, she just switched over to pain pills, Xanax and Valium. But I understand now. Chain of events over the last couple of days have really led to this realization, but I understand now why my mother drank the way that she did, and it was because her demons were haunting her. My father always told me that everybody messed with my mom, and that's why she drank. She couldn't deal with it. And I always thought that it was like physical, like there was actually something going on, people were screwing with her, messing with her in a physical way, but it wasn't, it was mentally. And I've experienced a bit of that for myself. Me and my brother haven't spoken a full conversation since 2008, maybe 2010. I've seen him from time to time in the 10 years that I've been sober and out of jail. I think 5 times that he has seen me and spoken to me, but that's only when he's alone. If he has his children with him or he is in company with somebody, he will ignore me. He'll walk right past me in the aisle at Walmart. He'll act like I don't exist because he doesn't want to get told on. He doesn't want it to go back to his wife that he spoke to his brother. And that's the mental game. A couple days ago, I left the job site and I forgot to strap down the lumber on my ladder rack. And my brother chased me down to tell me that my lumber was unstrapped. Down a little back road, beeping the horn, come up behind me at the stop sign, hollering out the window, calling me Buddy, Jakey, Cabo. Those were my nicknames growing up from him, my mom, and my dad. My dad called me Cabo, my brother always called me Buddy, and my mom called me Jakey. So it was, hey, Jakey, Cabo, yo, Buddy, Jake, your lumber's unstrapped. Why? It just drives me crazy. You can chase me down when you're alone, but you can't stand up in your household to come have a conversation with your brother. And my mom, her sisters did the same thing. My aunt lives a mile out the road, has lived there my whole life. It's my grandmother's house. They tore down my grandmother's house and built another house for my mom. My mom's mom and her sister. So, mile out the road. She delivers the mail. She knows the address because it's on the mailbox. She didn't know where it was at when all that trouble was going down. She didn't know where it was at when my mom was drinking herself to death and secluding all of us. Now, my aunts would come pick my brother up, but they wouldn't take me. Maybe I was bad. I don't remember. Maybe I was just ornery, didn't listen, acted like my mother. Not sure why. But I was penalized for it because of my mother's actions. And my mother was penalized for her father's actions. So it's that generational curse that we always talk about. My mother's family would ignore her for months, or maybe my mother would ignore them, I'm not sure. Nobody's here to tell that story because mom and dad are both dead. My aunts are still alive, so I can get their version of the story. But to some level or degree, they're all just as screwed up as my mom was because of their father, because of the emotional damage they took over the years. So even their stories have to be taken with a grain of salt. And I can kind of find middle ground somewhere because I know how my mom was, how she acted, kind of have an idea of her thought pattern. So I can kind of see that, but that's where it leads me to believe that the reason my mother drank was because her demons chased her, and they were disguised as her family members. You know, the random acts of kindness from the family, or the random gestures of interaction and contact, and then months of silence, and it toys with you. It's toying with me now, because this is probably the third or fourth time that my brother has done this when he was alone, and it's always accompanied by a time when he's with somebody and he ignores me. But where I come to all this, I'm a God-fearing man, Christian, you know, work a secular program and a non-secular program at the same time, if that makes any sense. You know, I like Celebrate Recovery. I like the Beatitudes, Jesus' Sermon on the Mount, and I like how it applies to the 12 steps of Alcohol Anonymous and Narcotics Anonymous. And then, you know, I led a Celebrate Recovery ministry for a little while at my church, about 2 years, year and a half maybe, something like that. That's how long it took to break my heart, and I lost all steam. But in the garden, the snake came to Eve and offered her the fruit and told her that it would open her eyes and that she could see. It would give her wisdom. We have to be aware of the snakes in our lives that are offering us fruit. You know, they'll weasel their way back in, they'll slither in, and they'll offer us that fruit, and the moment we reach down to take the fruit, they bite us. And that's the snakes in our lives. They may be the family that we have that are just as twisted as we are trying to get sober. They could be frenemies. You know, if you've been in the rooms, I'm sure you've heard that name. But, you know, a frenemy is the friend that appears friendly, but they're only there for their benefit in the relationship. And their moral compass is different than yours. You know, maybe they're still getting high and you're trying to get clean. And they're the encourager to get high. I had frenemies when I was getting high, and I had friends, because I had drug dealers that would refuse to sell to me because they saw that I was getting out of hand. You know, so those are the things that I look back on, hindsight being 20/20 in recovery. But Mom struggled hard, and as I get older, I'll be 34 at the end of the year. I'm starting to understand more and more as the world chews on me and tries to spit me out. I can see why my mom couldn't take it, and I can see where people that are low on self-confidence, self-esteem issues, how they could find issue with making it through the day-to-day activities of the world, because the world's mean. So if you're watching this video and you feel counted out, don't. You're stronger than you know you are. You can rise above anything that gets in your way as long as you take the steps, you know, work the steps, the 12 steps of Narcotics Anonymous, you know, accompanied with the traditions. Those can be the foundation that you need if you're struggling in that manner. Hurts, Habits, and Hang-Ups comes out of the Celebrate Recovery book. You can find a Christ-centered program if you want, or a non-Christ-centered program if you want, for many other things, you know, eating, gambling, drinking, drugs, sex. The list is endless as to where it can be applied, and the soul searching that needs to be done on our lives to identify what it is we're running from and how we are running, because everybody runs different, but the demons chase us all. Some of us just cope better. But I'll continue this story in another video. You know, talk about my mom and the family dynamic and the relationship between her and her sisters, and the way that it negatively affected me and my brother, my mother's children. But hit that follow button, you know, follow along, watch the stories, leave me a comment, let me know where you're watching from. I appreciate your views, and I like the comments. Come back and check me out again. Thanks, guys.